Hey everybody, it's me, MiaFran again. Welcome back to my channel and to another Fruits Basket Season 3 review. So hopefully I'm getting this out the day of, or at least by the day after, probably the day of, that the newest episode has just come out of Fruits Basket Season 3. It's episode 5, and the title is I Mean You Know, right? And, last episode, I did mention that it was Momiji who read out the title card, so we did focus quite a bit on Momiji this episode. So let's just get right into what happened and my thoughts on that. So we kind of go into this episode at the beginning of the school day, and we see that Momiji has hit a growth spurt. He is much taller now, and he's a lot more handsome. You know, he's kind of like grown into his features a little bit more, and his voice is deeper. So he's definitely, coming into his own, growing up. He's not all cutesy and small anymore. He's finally wearing the boys' uniform, like he's wearing the actual like guy's top to the uniform. He's wearing the pants. So he's not, wearing the shorts and the girl's top anymore or a sailor hat. But he still has the pink bunny backpack. He likes to keep that on, at least, keep it real. It's still very cute. We kind of see that some of the girls in the school are like kind of notice that now. They're like, oh, he's like not cute anymore. He's like really hot. He like got really handsome. He's gotten taller. So, girls are starting to notice him, and we kind of see that he's also starting to notice girls, but one particular girl, which is Toru. So it's clear that Momiji is in love with Toru. And it's very obvious that she's not in love with Momiji. We can, see that she's in love with Kyo, even though she doesn't really quite know it yet. But Momiji is still kind of playing off the idea of like, well, we can still be friends and hang out. I think he just wants to continue to be around her. And so he's kind of focusing on that. We kind of notice that Hatsuharu and Yuki also notice that, Momiji is growing up, gotten taller and everything. And everyone kind of also sees like a different kind of change in him. I'll kind of discuss that in a little bit. But we also see that Shigure has come to see Akito again, and she's not very happy. He kind of just like leaves. So I guess we can assume that he's come to see her again. They probably slept together again, assumedly before, and he's just now leaving. Kureno is also there, kind of like, wait, where are you going? Like, what's going on? What's happening? And Shigure just kind of leaves, and that makes Akito upset. And Hattori later on in the episode kind of talks to Shigure about it, like, if you want your actual feelings for Akito to come across better, you should probably just actually like say something. Like, you should just tell her. And Shigure is kind of like, well, that's not how I am. Like, I'm not that kind of person. He wants to do things his own way, even though, just saying how he feels would probably work the best. But, he basically tells Hattori, like, go away. Like you talking to me and telling me this stuff isn't going to change my mind. Well, and he also says, like, I'm not a nice person, so why does it matter anyway? Like, I'm not going to be nice about anything. Like, why would I change the way I am now? So he's definitely not going to change the way that he goes about doing things, at least for a little bit. But, I mean, he's also doing it because Akito needs to realize that things aren't going to continue to be the same anymore. And, of course, we also kind of see that as well in this episode because Momiji's curse breaks. His curse breaks one night. It just kind of happens. It's in the middle of the night. Akito kind of, jolts up and feels it. Momiji's also awake. His door is open to the outside at the Sohma estate. He's just kind of standing there, not really understanding what's going on. Kind of a weird feeling, and Akito kind of shows up and is like, Momiji, please don't leave me. It's kind of a parallel, kind of the same what we saw when happened when Kureno's curse broke, and Momiji makes the comment of, so those weren't my actual feelings. It was like I was looking into something, like I was looking inside from the out, if that makes sense. I was looking on the inside from the outside. Like, I was watching someone else's relationship, and I was just kind of understanding how they were feeling without actually feeling them myself. So he doesn't really know how to feel, but he also has this sense of freedom that he wants to embrace. And one of those things he wants to embrace and do with this newfound freedom is he wants to try to pursue Toru, like go after her. And he even tells Kyo, because everyone comes over to the house, Kisa, Hiro, Hatsuharu, Momiji, they come to the house, like Shikure's house, and they come in and they're like, yeah, he's like, we should have a barbecue. I'm gonna go tell Kyo. And so when he goes to tell Kyo, you know, Kyo kind of notices like, oh, you look different, like you're older and stuff. That's interesting. And Momiji kind of basically tells him like, if you don't do something about Toru, like if you don't tell her how you feel, then I'm gonna kind of like try to step in, like someone's gonna take her from you and I'm gonna try to do that. Like he's basically telling him like, I'm gonna be your rival if you don't step up to the plate and like actually do something about your feelings for Toru. Because like, you know, he knows that he's in love, that Kyo's in love with Toru. And Kyo is kind of like, okay, wow, alright. Kind of surprised by that. But he also confronts Momiji later on the roof of the school on a later day after the curse is broken, and he's kind of like, what's going on with you? Like, what happened? Like, why are you acting like this? And Momiji kind of says like, well, maybe it's because my curse is broken. And then Kyo's like, don't like joke about that. And Momiji is kind of like, nah, just kidding. But it's like, no, that's true. Like, we saw the bonds break. We saw that happen. So, you know, Momiji is finally coming into his own, and we see him speak to his mother. And like she just kind of sees him walking on this certain route, and I guess he does it because the curse is broken now. And as we learned way back in season 1, his mother's memories were erased, so she doesn't remember giving birth to him or that she's his mother. She only thinks she has one child, which is his little sister Momo. Because when he was born, she held him and he turned into a rabbit, like a baby rabbit. And, you know, that kind of like traumatized her, like shocked her. So, you know, she doesn't know that Momiji is her son, even though, like, they both have German accents. Or, yeah. So it's like, okay. And actually, Momiji's German accent is kind of, like, it's kind of going away a little bit. At least I noticed in that conversation with his mother, because his mother has an accent. But his kind of was, like, going away. I don't know if they're trying to do that because I watched it dubbed. I don't know how it is in the sub. I mean, he has like an accent in the sub, but it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, I'm more used to hearing what a German accent sounds like speaking English, so I can hear it better. Yeah, when he's talking to his mother, his German accent was kind of like going away. I don't know if that was intentional or if like maybe they were just focusing more on keeping his voice a little bit deeper and kind of like just, you know, the accent doesn't have to be like perfect. But I mean, it works. You know, he's getting older. Maybe his accent's just kind of going away. It sounded really childish before, and now it's. And I feel like also as you get older, if you do have an accent and when you're speaking another language, like I feel like the more you speak that language, and the more fluent you get and the more used to speaking it and the more people you're around speaking that language with, you kind of tend to lose your accent a little bit on certain words. That also might be, you know, just kind of a sign of maturity as well. At least in English. I don't know about Japanese, but, you know, a fluent English speaker. So, I mean, it didn't really bother me. It was just kind of interesting that, like, oh, his accent's kind of disappearing. Like, it was still there, it just wasn't as prominent as it was when his voice was a little bit higher. But he kind of has a conversation with his mother. It's a very pleasant conversation. She's kind of just like, oh, you know, it's really nice to see you. You know, I didn't know that you walked to school this way. He's like, oh, you know, I wanted to just try a different way to school. And so I guess he's gonna try to, you know, we can assume he's probably gonna try to do this more often. And, you know, maybe get a chance to speak to his mother and not have it be awkward. Because now, you know, he has that freedom to kind of like do what he wants to do because his curse is now broken. You know, he doesn't have to worry about turning into a rabbit anymore. Like, people can get close to him. We also saw briefly for a little bit Yuki trying to talk to Machi alone, and then of course they get interrupted, but he really wants to tell her about the curse. You know, he's like, I need to tell her about me, you know, because they're kind of moving forward in this relationship that they're having with each other. So, you know, he kind of wants to tell her, you know, he trusts her enough. We see that Mine and Ayame are kind of, you know, having their own little couple stuff going on. Yeah, if you didn't know that Mine and Ayame were like a couple, like, yeah, they are. Him and his assistant. Because she kind of says, like, I'm not gonna leave you. Like, I'm gonna stay here forever with you, you know? Which is really cute. I love that, like, him and his cute little assistant, like they're a pair. That's so adorable. And then we have the teacher and Hattori, and she's kind of looking at a magazine, and he's like, oh, what are you looking at? She's like, oh, it would be nice to go on vacation somewhere. Where would you like to go on vacation if you could? So their relationship is kind of growing, so we're just kind of seeing all the different like couples kind of coming together, growing a little bit. You know, the ones that we still kind of have a little bit of housekeeping, you know, a little bit more development to go through is like Akito and Shigure, Kyo and Toru, Yuki and Machi as well. But I mean, we still got to see kind of more of like, you know, Yuki kind of becoming more comfortable with talking to her about, you know, certain things, private things, secrets. Of course, Hataro and Rin. I mean, we didn't see Rin this whole episode, but, you know, they did tell Toru, like, oh no, she's good. You know, they didn't tell her the whole thing, because obviously she would get worried. But overall, this episode was very much just kind of, like, giving examples of how everyone is kind of dealing with the different things going on, as not only are the seasons changing and the year going by and everyone is getting older and things are kind of happening really fast, but we're seeing how everyone is dealing with all of these issues around them, and clearly Akito is still dealing with things in the worst way possible by just getting upset and angry and over emotional about it, and Shigure isn't helping. He's not helping her understand or cope. He's just kind of like trying to torture her in terms of like, well, you know, you kind of dug your own grave with this. And I guess he's just kind of trying to wait for her to see like the light at the end of the tunnel, to see that he is the light at the end of the tunnel. Because he does tell Hattori like, well, you and Kureno and, you know, everybody else, like, they're trying to, you know, comfort her in a certain way. Like, I'm not trying to be her father. Because, of course, he's not. He doesn't want to be, like, a father to her. He's trying to, you know, be a lover. Like, be her lover, you know? And so it's kind of frustrating, obviously, for everybody else who knows what's going on. Like, just tell her, bro. Come on. You know, Momiji's kind of, again, he's struggling with the curse breaking and Akito being upset. The curses are breaking one by one, so Kureno's is broken already. It has been for years. Momiji's just broke. Hatsuharu's is getting there to breaking. It didn't quite break yet, but it is going to pretty soon, most likely, as we saw in the previous episode. It was kind of fraying. But we saw Momiji's, like, actually break. So I think we're gonna see more of that symbolically when someone's curse breaks. But, you know, all of you Momiji stands out there, I hope you enjoyed the episode. You get to see him, he's all mature, he's like a prince now, he's very handsome. Like, he was cute before, and now he's very handsome. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. That's pretty much all of my thoughts on this week's episode of Fruits Basket. Can't wait for the next one. It's Kyo that read the title card for the next episode, so we're gonna be probably focusing on Kyo and Toru. Maybe go back to our, you know, main protagonist relationship and see what's going on there between those two. Maybe a little bit of Yuki and Machi, I don't know, but definitely gonna focus on Kyo, I'm sure, in this next episode. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and if you guys enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, share it if you'd like. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't, so that way you can see all the different kinds of videos I make, like these anime reviews. I do gacha pulls and a lot of different fun gacha games, merch unboxings. I live stream sometimes here on my YouTube channel, and I also have a Twitch where you can watch me play games, and I also have a TikTok, so check that out as well. You can also subscribe to the podcast and follow the podcast Twitter when new episodes get put up, and eventually a new one is going to come very soon. And of course, you can also follow me on Twitter. And if you would like to see your name at the end of every single one of my YouTube videos, like you do here, see them on the screen right now, you can go ahead and also click on my Patreon in the description below. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a patron of mine, support my future streaming and YouTube endeavors. And thank you once again to Anime Palooza and Elizabeth for being the best patrons ever. So have fun, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!